I'm Mr. MegaManFan, and this week on Genesis Does, we are looking at Puyo Puyo for the Sega Mega Drive. Why did I pick Puyo Puyo? Well, three reasons. First of all, I don't think I've ever played a Puyo Puyo game that I haven't enjoyed, so it's an easy one to find on any console, any platform, and just go ahead and grab it. Second of all, the price was right. It was only $4 via import. I was already placing an order with the sellers, so a complete inbox Mega Drive game for $4, why not? Third and final reason, I just can't resist a Japanese Mega Drive game. I've got so many Sega Genesis games already, but anytime I can find a nice complete Mega Drive game, especially one that's affordable as previously noted, why not add a Mega Drive game to the collection, given that the Analog Mega SG has no problem running either Genesis games or Mega Drive games. It recognizes them all. So I took the opportunity to avail myself of Puyo Puyo for the Mega Drive, since it was never released in North America for Sega Genesis, and here it is. Now, if you've never followed the history of the Puyo Puyo franchise, it's a little convoluted, but to start out with, it is actually a spin-off series to a franchise known as Mata Monogatari, Sorcery Saga, if you translate that into English, a dungeon-crawling role-playing game series from Compile. Given those games only came out in Japan and the Puyo Puyo series came out all around the world, I think it's fair to say the latter has gone on to much more fame and repute. Now, Compile is no longer the owner or developer of the series. Sega bought it outright in 1998, and all games in the franchise since 2001 have been done by Sonic Team. Yes, the people responsible for Sonic the Hedgehog are now also responsible for all the Puyo Puyo games that you play, including Puyo Puyo Tetris and Puyo Puyo Tetris 2, which both came out on the Nintendo Switch, one as a launch title and the other just recently in 2021. The original Puyo Puyo proved to be so popular that it's come out on just about everything over the years, starting with the MSX2 computer, October 1991, Famicom Disk System, same day, Arcades 1992, Mega Drive December 18, 1992, Game Gear, March 19, 1993, Famicom in a cartridge form, July 93, Super Famicom, December of 93, the FM Towns Marty in 1994, the Sharp X68000 in 1994. Now, are you noticing a trend here? A lot of these are Japanese consoles, so the series was kind of exclusive to Japan for a while. It didn't start to branch out until later on, and it picked up steam in the United States, I'd say in the 2000s after Sonic Team took over. Puyo Puyo Fever being the watershed moment as far as I'm concerned. I picked it up on the GameCube back in 2004, but it too seemed to come out on just about everything, and in this case it came out in every territory, Europe, Japan, and North America. You could get it on PS2 in 2004, you could get it on Xbox, Game Boy Advance, Windows computers, Pocket PCs. Nintendo DS got releases in 3 regions, 3 years in a row, Japan 2004, North America 2005, Europe 2006. So they really leaned in hard to franchising Puyo Puyo once they came out with Puyo Puyo Fever. What's nice though is, because it's a puzzle action game, you don't need to know Japanese to go back and play the old versions. You can just pop them into any console that's compatible with it and play them. You get the Game Boy Puyo Puyo, it's going to work in any Game Boy anywhere, and it's going to be easy to figure out, although maybe not the easiest to see, because one of the things that really drives Puyo Puyo games is matching up colors to create chains, and the longer the chain you create, the bigger it is when it's removed, the more points you score, and the more garbage blocks you send to your opponent. And one of the really fun things to do at Puyo Puyo is to chain those combos together. Stack up different colors on top of one that you're about to eliminate, and then have those pieces drop down and form a chain on the one underneath it that matches that color. The more chains you string together, the higher the points you get for the multiple eliminations back to back to back, and the bigger the garbage dump that you send to your opponent and make them deal with. You can get rid of the garbage by matching colors next to the ones that are dropped on you, and then they will remove the ones that are dropped along with the ones that match. But it can get to be a dicey proposition when you get a whole bunch of garbage dumped on you at once, because then you don't have enough room to make matches to remove the colors to get to the lower levels. It can be very tricky to eliminate enough blocks to make the matches when you don't have places to match blocks to eliminate the blocks with. Does that make sense? I hope it does, and if not, watching what I'm doing on the screen will probably elucidate, because I realize it can be a little hard to convey the idea of Puyo Puyo if you've never played it before, but seeing it should provide any explanation that I can't with the voiceover. It's addictive. Once you get into the habit of chaining these combos together and creating longer chains and multiple chains in a row and stringing together big drops and getting big points for them, it sucks you into the gameplay loop. It's very much like Tetris in that respect, where you're constantly building up to dropping 4 lines at once, and when you can do it, it's that dopamine rush to your brain. You just feel the excitement of knowing you achieved that goal and you want to do it again, and you immediately start lining up more blocks and leaving a hole so you can drop that 4-line piece in and get another hit, get that dopamine rush going. These kind of games, they just bring you back to it over and over again. You always want to do better, score more points. The gameplay gets faster. You have to get a little more frantic to keep up with it, but you still want to make those big combos. Sometimes you have to settle for a smaller combo because you don't want the garbage to stack up too high and then get eliminated. You want to be able to keep going, but you want to score those big points too. You always have to balance back and forth between those two competing goals, like staying alive, but getting the big points drop that you want. And it's always a rush when you can do both. And then it gets faster, and then you get even more challenged, and you just keep getting pulled in over and over again into that gameplay loop. Now, if any of this looks familiar to you, there is a good reason why. If you've played Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, it's Puyo Puyo, but all they did was reskin it with Sonic the Hedgehog characters, putting Sonic against Dr. Robotnik instead of you against the characters from Maru Monogatari, which, I gotta admit, makes sense because that series never came out in North America, so people wouldn't have been familiar with those characters, but they definitely would have known Sonic and Tails and Dr. Robotnik, so I can't fault them for that choice, but I also wanted the original unskinned Puyo Puyo the way it was originally meant to be before they decided to localize it for North America. So I guess in that sense you could say Puyo Puyo did make its North American debut before it got big with Puyo Puyo Fever, but it got big in a way that it didn't even get recognized as Puyo Puyo. It got recognized as Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine and became part of the Sonic franchise, and is so well remembered for that they even made reference to it when they made Sonic Mania. At the end of one of the stages, you get trapped in the Mean Bean Machine and you have to battle Dr. Robotnik until you drop enough garbage on his screen that he gets dropped out of the cage and you complete the level and move on to the next stage of Sonic Mania. So it has become, both figuratively and literally, part of Sega's Sonic empire. And that's fine. I don't mind, as long as they keep making new games in the franchise over the years and doing crossover puzzle games like Puyo Puyo Tetris. I feel the series is alive and well and will continue to thrive under Sega's ownership. So my hats up to them for buying it when they did, taking it from compile and taking it to the next level, and continuing the series from its original point of origin to something that is far more recognized now as being its entire own series, to the point that most people wouldn't consider it a spin-off of anything anymore. I'm Mr. MegaManFan. I hope you've enjoyed this look at Puyo Puyo today on Genesis Does. And if you don't want to go to the trouble of importing it, then just look for a copy of Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine.